Hello and sunny Bonani. It is 8:05 Central African time. My name is Bob O'Connor. Welcome to Albert Park in Australia. Welcome to the 7th race of the BrakeAway Racing League season in our Tier 2 championship, as all these contenders look to stake their claim to possible ascension to the top tier next season. As you can see, we have got a full complement of Williams drivers represented, courtesy of the Prince of South Africa and Anebo, who joins us live here tonight. We also have the Mercedes duo, Kid K and Man Ray, here tonight, as well as the Haas of Marshy. The AlphaTauri of Estexa, Spy Zozo, is here, as is Tindo, representing the drivers formerly of the top tier. Don't forget, of course, Nkwali, who is driving the Alfa Romeo here today. What can be done? How much progress can Eddie or each of these drivers show today? Well, we'll be here to capture all of that and keep you clued up on what exactly may be expected. As you can see, it looks like, decent day out here. Not a spot of rain out here in Australia. Although the sky does look that they do not fall foul of any inclement going. Looking forward to some fantastic action here. The Tier 2 Championship, more often than not, serves up some pretty intense racing, all in fairness of competitive side, as we get the official countdown to when these drivers will, steer those vehicles out. Look forward to all your interactions, your comments, and the like as this session rolls on along. Sanley Mazansi making a welcome appearance here in this 7th race of the season. Perhaps they could stake their claim on something special here tonight. Just Tendo also making their presence felt in this here lobby. Welcome to Tier 2 Racing League action. As you can see, those are our current contenders. We do expect to see more of them as this session continues. And we will get a sense of just what the thinking is, what the tire choices will be early on, as we will get 18 minutes of qualifying around this circuit. Albert Park here in Australia. It's a 5.2 kilometer circuit, a total of 14 corners, a temporary facility. It is a street track, if you will, but it does, have a feel of a permanent circuit. It is super fast and flowing, and at the start of race weekends, it is usually quite a slippery surface, which rubbers in as the sessions progress onwards. It seems like the AlphaTauri of Estexa is the first out on track, followed swiftly along by M. Shengu in the Alfa Romeo. M. Shengu's presence in this lobby makes it a full complement of Alfa Romeo drivers as well, alongside Nkwali, of course. And as we see Estexa just take their time out here on a circuit, M. Shengu just was happy to bypass the AlphaTauri, now making the way through towards the beginning of the second sector. Quite a number of drivers not wasting any time, making their way out onto the circuit. It seems only Nkwali, Kid K, Spy Zozo, and the Prince of South Africa opting to remain in the pits, but perhaps that won't be for too long, as M. Shengu will be the driver that we will watch set the first representative time of the day. Behind M. Shengu is the Haas of Marshy, so it seems Estexa is just happy to bide their time and, go on a much slower outlap. Here comes M. Shengu, who will go on board now with 15 and a half minutes of this session to go. Takes turn number 1, rides the curb a little bit, and makes sure not to fall foul of losing the car at all. Now, tackling sector 1 is M. Shengu, slightly there, touching the apex of that right-hander. Rides the curb a little bit there. It's a corner, of course, that you do need to be wary of from time to time, as Mshengu makes sure that he does not fall foul of any yellow flags. 27.727 is the split at the end of Sector 1 for the Alfa Romeo driver. The benchmark, the gauntlet laid down earliest by Mshengu here. Now down the DRS stretch of the track here in the second sector. Will now hit the brakes. 45.518 Sector 2 split is something to watch very, very closely at this particular point in time. Behind Mshengu, I believe, is the Mercedes of Man Ray on those medium tires as he went wide there, did Mshengu, through the right-hander. Now going to tackle the final sequences of corners, trying to carry as much speed as possible. Of course, not afraid to take liberties as far as those apexes are concerned. He tries to ease the throttle there through the exit of the final corner. Mshengu with the benchmark. Mshengu with a 119.052, the early marker. Here comes Man Ray towards the line on those mediums. Will it be a faster time? The answer to that is not quite. About 9/10 behind the time set by Mshengu. Estetza next across the line. 120.164 is that benchmark. There's an Alpha, an Aston Martin on the verge of completing their push lap. It is Tindo now looking, of course, to charge his way back up to the top tier. Will it be the quickest time we've seen today? Close, but not quite. 19.807 is actually, a daylight between Mshengu and Tindo. So, what an effort that is by the Alfa Romeo driver thus far. And Nebo, the experienced campaigner, sadly invalidated their first push lap. So we will then watch to see how the likes of Stanley Mazansi will fare, as well as the Prince of South Africa, who have made their way out on track alongside the likes of Nkwali, who has also just crossed the line behind Nebo. So we'll catch up with them later on in this push lap. Now, rides the curb there, does Nebo, a little bit wide of that particular corner, the apex, of course, but now pushing as much as he possibly can, 6th, 7th gear into the braking zone, and he takes it all the way down to 5th gear, trying, of course, not to lose it completely. Looks like his car is glitching a little bit. Marshy is back in the session. Glad to see that. Currently have 12 drivers. It'll be a good 13 once Marshy is up and running. But with 12 and a half minutes of the session to go, it is Nebo looking to hunt down the front runners. 46.232. Sector 2 split is nothing to be scoffed at. Oh, and Nebo! Oh, too much on the limit. He was carrying so much speed there on the exit of that corner. But of course, those wheels going over the track limits will have to give it another go once again. And sadly, as you hop over to Nkwali, it's another invalidation. It's just the second driver on a set of medium compound tires alongside the likes of Tindo, whose best time thus far is a 119.981. Third quickest for the Mercedes of Tindo as you watch Nkwali make their way around, perhaps towards the pits once again. And Neville abandoned that push lap and came straight back into the pits. Will Nkwali follow suit or keep on pushing? Time will tell. Prince of South Africa is now out on track. Next in line to stake their claim on what is currently 4 representative laps that have been set. Wide of the apex was the Prince of South Africa through the right-hand corner there, and now looking to carry as much speed as possible. Rode that curb quite heavily, but it is still good, still valid, still on the brink of a decent time. Hopefully, 27.719 is that benchmark at the end of the first sector. The Prince of South Africa now down the back, DRS straight. And interestingly, opens up that rear wing to get those extra kilometers per hour, and that extra speed at 45.641 is that split at the end of Sector 2. Wide of the apex to the left-hander, but he manages to keep it together, and as he passes those gravel, the remains of what is sand that was dredged up by someone else, it is going to be quite interesting to see whether or not the Prince of South Africa can put on something regal in the way of his personal performance, as Titus notes that Kid K is always sipping coffee during qualifying session. What is going on, Kid K? Why not out on the surface as yet? The Prince of South Africa taking all the liberties with track limits on the exit of the final corner, crosses the line for the third quickest time of the day, ahead of Man Ray, whose time was set on those mediums. Prince of South Africa definitely has more pace in the bag as Stanley Mazansi pips the Williams to P3 with 10 minutes of this qualifying session to go. Stanley Mazansi back in BrakeAway Racing League lobbies, back in Tier 2 action, back up to the top 3 places thus far. Good looking, Saturday Mazanti. Tendo has just crossed the line for a time, which is, perhaps not that representative. 125.384. Is that Tendo at full tilt? Or is there more time to be found as Tendo goes completely off the circuit over there? Tendo is seemingly on a push lap. As Jittery Cursor says, you know what? I hate Albert Park with a passion. Not a fan is Jittery Cursor of this year's circuit. Marshy is now on track. Glitching ever so slightly is Marshy's car. So let's see what they can do here through Sector 1. All right, we've got an issue with Marshy's timing. Oh, thus far. As the car really seems to be quite glitchy. And as you can see, the lap times at the top there, perhaps not the most representative, as Titus responds to Jittery Cursor saying, you know what, this track is actually one of my favorites. Oh, Tendo! We just hopped on over to the Ferrari driver, making acquaintance with the walls out here on circuit. Needs to be very, very careful at this particular point in time. The King Rapture, His Royal Highness, has joined the lobby currently, as I just want to make sure that we are in the commentary box, folks. We'll get straight back into the correct action here. I've just realized that I did not join the correct party chat. I've just done so now as we get straight back to all the action that we want to be seeing. Man Ray is out on track and struggling. As you can see, he was just in the gravel there. Trying to go for a first push lap on a set of softs, but it has not gone according to plan for Man Ray, who is seemingly gonna have to give it another push. Oh, the lap is still valid. Perhaps I was mistaken. Whoa, I take that back, because Man Ray found a significant amount of time, almost a full second worth of improvement that Man Ray has found. And now, just 3/100ths or so of a second away from the benchmark set by M. Shangu. So your top 3 with less than 8 minutes of the session to go. It is Man Ray, Estexa. It is, I beg your pardon, M. Shangu. Man Ray is P2. Estexa is currently 3rd as he makes way for some of the faster moving cars. King Rapture dipping in and out of the session as the Prince of South Africa finds improvement. And look at that! Well, some of you have said you're not very comfortable. The Prince of South Africa looking at home in Australia. 3rd quickest time thus far. Nudges Estexa down to that 4th spot. Tindo was back in the pits with the 5th quickest time of the day. Sanale Mazansi currently 6th. And Quali 7th. Tendo with the 8th quickest time of the day. The Sultan of Straight Line Speeds by Zozo yet to set a representative time, as has Kid K. Marcy back on another outlap as things currently stand. So lots of time still yet to pass. Lots still. A long way still to go. And yeah, Marshy's network showing us some strange things. It said they were on an outlap, but as you can see, just a strange, glitchy presence over there. San Limazanti, 6th quickest time, and Nebo is on a push lap and has found about 3/10 of a second come the end of Sector 1, so it's looking good for the veteran driver in the Williams here today. We'll let Sector 2 split look like. He's lost a couple of tenths, has a Nebo, and tries to keep it steady and together, now making their way towards the heavy braking zone and the upcoming right-hander. Sequay says should be seeing times in the 1:16s or 1:17s. When all is said and done. Well, right now, still got some way to go before they get there, as Enebo abandons that push lap attempt and comes all the way back into the pits. M. Shangu is the story of the day, topping the timesheets. Man Ray 2nd, Prince of South Africa 3rd, Estexa 4th, Tindo the 5th quickest time of the day. Sanle Mazansi is back with the 6th quickest time seen thus far. And we will see how they will fare. Behind Sanale Mazansi, seemingly out on track, is Marshy on that outlap. Marshy, yes, the city representative time. Here comes San Lemazanti, back in breakaway, back in the lobby, back in the action for the Tier 2 Championship. 5 minutes of the session to go. Thank you for choosing BrakeAway Racing League. If you've just joined us, this is qualifying. If you're one of the new viewers to this particular game, and indeed Formula One in general, the aim of the game in qualifying is as follows. You send your car around the circuit as fast as you possibly can. The quickest times, of course, are arranged in order of how fast they went. And that order, which you see on the left-hand side of your screen, is indeed the order in which the cars will start the race. So the faster you go around the circuit in qualifying, the higher your chances of starting in position number 1, or pole position as it is known. San Lemazanti has found almost 2/10 of a second come the end of Sector 2, now making their way through and giving it an almighty push. Bobby, what in the heck is going on, folks? I do hope you can still hear me. What in the All right. All right, that is bizarre. If I've ever seen anything. So my actual network is still fine. Somehow, just got this game just kicked me out the lobby. And let us see if we can number one get back in. Then obviously we would have to restart. We will have to restart the lobby for the start of the race itself. All right, sorry guys, just before we get a new game, as usual, we are seeing major issues as far as the game is concerned. So we do apologize for that. All right, folks, we'll be back with the action as soon as we possibly can. All right, folks, even though we have been kicked out of the lobby, we will be starting, or they're going to finish the qualifying session because there was just a few minutes left. I am told that the session is still working from the vantage point of the drivers. And they will be then having we will then hop on over to this fresh lobby to begin this race in earnest. And that should be within less than 7 minutes or so. So they're just going to finish their qualifying, and then we will set a customized grid for the race. All right, folks. I do forget. I do forget that I can hear the music that's playing through the game, but then you can't. So yeah, it is quite well. It is silent unless I'm actually saying something. So once the quali has been finished, as we have mentioned, we will then be hopping on over to this lobby. All right. I do believe that quali has concluded, and it is my understanding that Mshengu qualified first. Tindo was second, and Manray will start in P3. The Prince of South Africa qualified fourth, Espexa fifth, Sanley Mazansi sixth, and Lebo seventh, and Quali eighth, Spizozo ninth, Kid K 10th, Tendo 11th, and Marshy qualified in P12. We will have 29 laps around Albert Park here in Melbourne, Australia. And Mshengu will lead us around this here circuit. His Royal Highness the King Rapture is here to take part in the race proper as the drivers begin to select their cars. And let's see what sort of performances we can see. And Lebu is back for this race, qualified 7th, did the Williams driver. And Quali was 8th. I'll take you back through the order. It seems we currently have 10 or 11. Do expect one more. And with Man Ray joining us, that makes it an even 12. Just going to make sure that they are in this lobby. No. And then go on ahead to set our grid. All right, folks, there we go. Our grid of 14 drivers has been set, and we will now go racing in Australia. 29 laps in this seventh race of the Tier 2 Championship. Who will prevail? It is time for these drivers to get ready and get straight into the racing action. Welcome to Australia. Welcome to a fantastic race in Prospect. We will be led around this here track by none other than Mshengu, who was the star of qualifying and is now set to lead us on a merry chase. Here we go to see how it all pans out. Tier 2 BrakeAway Racing League, 14 drivers. What a tasty race we have in Prospect. I want to hear your thoughts, your predictions. You saw how they performed in qualifying. The racing gods have given us a splash of drama to begin these 29 laps. It is going to be rain in Australia. How about that? How about that? How would you have been able to handle it? I do wonder at this particular point how long this rain will last, when the crossover point will be, and how these drivers will adjust and adapt. Well, you could hear the whirring of those tools in the garages as the mechanics make sure that the necessary adjustments have been made before we go racing. Despite the weather, people in the pound seats are still having a decent time. As Titus says, I wish the rain would stop halfway through the race. Well, here we are, folks. The countdown should be getting started. As the Prince of South Africa says, we should not have rain when the lobby restarts. So let us see whether or not this is going to necessitate a wholesale change, or whether or not these drivers will adjust and adapt. Well, it seems as if we will be going racing here, folks. And in this first lap of a total 29, Mshengu will lead us on what is looking like a super dramatic start. And a couple of drivers having retired early, losing their cars in the first couple of corners. I'm not sure if these drivers are retiring purposefully, as we get a virtual safety car to get us started in the early part of this race. Mshengu, Man Ray, Stanley, Mazanthi are your three protagonists. Spizozo currently in P4 as things currently stand, moving a total of 5 places. What about the King Rapture, whose race start has been nothing short of phenomenal? 8 places gained as Man Ray gets penalized for speeding under the virtual safety car as the Ferrari of Spizozo struggles for grip. Here comes Nkwali on the outside. Meanwhile, Neville is fighting tooth and nail, it seems, with the Ferrari ahead, and behind them, of course, is the approaching Espexa. Grip is at an absolute premium in these early stages under intermediate tire conditions. Tendo becomes the latest casualty of this dramatic race start, and with that gone, it's a full safety car, and that means His Royal Highness the King Rapture makes it a total of 10 places gained as the Ferrari of Spizozo and Nkwali in the Alfa Romeo bump wheels as these cars come around this circuit to complete the first lap. It is time penalties and a drive-through for the likes of Mshengu, Mandre, and Espexa. Kaposa comes into the pit for an early stop, as does Tindo, who lost a total of 9 places. And it's an early wing change for Kaposa, who came into the session late, or indeed later than the rest of the contenders, starting from the back of the pack. Tindo also changing wings and fitting a fresh set of intermediates. The Prince of South Africa changes tires as well as a front wing as the second lap is being conducted behind the safety car. Marshy has re-established connection to the network, and this is the situation in lap number 2. Mshengu leads, as was the case, of course, through quali. Sanley Mazansi gaining 4 places. The King Rapture, His Royal Highness, having gained 10 since the start of the day. Man Ray losing 1. And laps 14 to 22 are the predicted, or lap number 14 or 22, the predicted pit window as things currently stand. Man Ray is now in P4, having just lost a place. He's got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car, so perhaps was too eager to get racing. Now in P4, Spizozo gained 4 places, still in the reckoning here for something very, very good by the time all is said and done. Currently 5th, and Quali has been one of the beneficiaries of this early drama. Now 6th, and Neville mired in P7. Ostexa, not the best of days thus far. 8th, Marshy. 9th, Kaposa. 10th, having gained 4 places despite that, Tindo and the Prince of South Africa rounding off the field. Intermediate tires for pretty much everybody at this particular point. Spizozo gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Not going to be happy with that. Was it a pit stop for the sake of a wing change there for Spizozo? Seems like that might just have been the case. A fresh set of intermediate tires as well for the Ferrari Superstar. Specs up. New tires as well. Will resume this race from P12. So if we get 2 more retirements, then it's going to be a full house of points for everybody remaining. Marshy, are they back in control of their car? Having lost connection to the network earlier on. Seemingly, yes. 3 laps gone. Lots of racing still to go. Oh, Marshy almost hitting some of the drivers there. Is that Sanley Mazansi, who seemed to have ghosted out? Nope, seems like he's still in firm control and command of that car. But behind, Marshy is taking liberties here. Don't know what is going on, or whether this is just a case of Marshy's network, which is acting up and showing them erroneously in P3. But there we go. Marshy just giving up those places once again, as race control gives the word that the safety car is in at the end of this lap. The splash of rain has added a splash of drama into this fresh race start out here in Australia. Barely a lap completed without, of course, that drama, as Marshy, once again, is pushing perhaps harder than he should. Marshy now making way back down to P4, and Mshengu will then lead proceedings from the front. But sadly, drive-through penalty that Mshengu has racked up. It's a similar case as well for Man Ray, but of course it won't be now. It'll be after he has resumed the race. Sanley Mazanti, as you can see, is not leaving anything to chance as the Alfa Romeo of Inquali comes into the pits. Mshengu has absolutely sent it, but Sanley Mazanti was not caught unawares. Behind Sanley is, of course, His Royal Highness, the King Rapture. They navigate turns 1 and 2, and King Rapture is pushing the McLaren on along as they now send it screaming towards the upcoming right-hander. Sanley Mazanti tries not to outbrake himself here in the wet conditions, of course, which makes cornering and braking extra difficult. Duke says it better not rain tomorrow. Holding thumbs, crossing fingers is definitely Duke, as the King Rapture has put some daylight between the top three and the chasing Nebo. Drive-through penalty still for Mshengu, still for Man Ray, who is all the way at the back of the pack. Work to do for Man Ray, as back on board we go with His Royal Highness the King Rapture, looking to apply all the pressure to Sanley Mazanti. And here comes the crucial breaking point now. Mshengu with a second worth of buffer, a second worth of breathing room, as His Royal Highness the King Rapture looks to apply the pressure. Sanley Mazanti does not budge, but the King Rapture goes side by side on the inside of the McLaren, and now coming towards the braking zone into the right-hander. Will it be ahead? No! Sanley Mazanti does not go down without a fight on Wednesday action night. King Rapture will have to fight some other way, as he made sure not to crash unnecessarily, and Nebo has crashed out, and Nebo has, the car is carnage over there on the right-hand side of the track, and for the second time in a matter of minutes, it's another safety car. The veteran Williams driver is out. Well. And Nebo is out of the race, out of the session, in what has not been the best of circumstances. And Mshengu, seemingly, were they completing their drive-through, Mshengu? Or does that not count? Oh, because the safety car had already begun. Did Mshengu try to serve their drive-through penalty at the wrong time? Oh, he's having a mare. Once again, off the circuit into the grass. The former race leader, the pole sitter, now struggling down in P7, needs to get their car back running. And it's still a drive-through penalty. Oh, and sends it straight to the wall. Mshengu is out. Mshengu becomes the fourth retiree in a dramatic Australian Grand Prix. The driver who was in pole position has totaled the car out here in Sector 1. Sector 3, I beg your pardon. Well. What is going on? Asked Bongani Debo Crocodile. I would ask that question once again. And the lead of this race has now passed to Sanley Mazanti. Sanley, on their return to regular league racing in the second tier, now leads in the fifth lap of a total 29. Drama in Melbourne, here in Australia. It is Sanley Mazanti and Marshy who seems to... What is going on with Marshy? Marshy's network is, doing very, very strange things. Yeah, Marshy's just crashing, seemingly ghosting through everybody. Hopefully we can just get a proper indication of that. Tell you what, folks, as some of you mentioned earlier, I really hate what this game tends to do towards the end of its life cycle and on the brink of getting new games, we start to see very strange things in the Formula One games. With Sanley Mazzanti from King Rapture, from Caboza, who has recovered in the space of a couple of laps, down from the back of the pack now in P4. Tindo is fifth. That earlier incident having messed up their earlier prospects. Tindo now in fifth place, and Quali is sixth. The AlphaTauri of Iskaxa, seventh. Manray still needs to serve their drive-through penalty, currently eighth. Spizozo, the Sultan of Straight Line Speed, ninth. The Prince of South Africa, 10th. What the heck is going on with the safety car, I ask you? It looks like somehow the game is waiting for everybody to catch up to the safety car, even though, well, they should have been behind it by now. This is the vantage point from the person who ostensibly we were seeing as the leader of the race, Sanley Mazzanti. So we're seeing quite strange things here in this session.
Okay, sure.
All right, folks. It seems this glitch that we're seeing with the safety car is being experienced by, well, everybody in this session. The safety car was driving on along, and then it suddenly stopped. So we may yet need to restart this lobby, possibly for reduced distance. I will confirm with you soonest. All right, the safety car has indeed glitched, and we will then have to restart this lobby. Apologies, folks. A series of glitches really affecting us quite significantly here today. But we'll just make sure that we'll just make sure that everything is as it is supposed to be. All right. Thank you once again for bearing with us, and we will look to get this race going properly. We do believe that we should have enough time for the full race to get underway. We've been mired with all sorts of glitches and incidents, but I'll tell you what, these drivers will say thank you very much to what looks to be clear weather at the restart of this race. We will have 29 laps around the Albert Park circuit. Here we go, 4 lights, 5 lights, the only time South Africa's afforded to the lights going out, and we are racing in Australia. Here they come now. There's a slow-moving car. It looks like Man Ray. It was a Tindo who stalled on the line. Mshengu is leading them down towards turn number 1, and Man Ray is now up to P2 and Quali gaining 4 places, and Styksa is in P4, the Prince of South Africa. There's carnage as Zozo Kaposa has crashed out. Tindo has retired early on, and Man Ray has become the latest casualty. What in the world is going on? It's another early safety car. I am out of words. Barely any laps concluded. The safety car is here. It is out in the first lap, and the Alfa Romeo duo of Inquali and Mshengu are leading us. Bongani, Debo Crocodile. Barely believing what he's seeing here. Why does it feel like these two are racing under safety car conditions? Espexa now in P3. Manray is asking, are we restarting for Marshy? Some confusion in the driver's lobby. All right, folks, I'm just going to have to touch base one last time. Take 3 as we're about to restart one more time. We do apologize, folks. It has been a nightmare of a day, but at this particular point in time, we will have a reduced race distance. Um, Fuck. Switching here. Okay. Oh my god. Wait. Tindo Manray. What the fuck, man? No, guys, I can't. Prince of South Africa. Gwali Spy. Spy. Spy, and then Kid K. it going? Okay, where was Kid K? Fuck, man. Okay, Kid K. Okay. All right, folks, here we are in Australia. Hopefully the third and final time that we're giving this a proper go. We will have just 20 laps of racing around the Albert Park circuit. Kaposa, Kid K, Man Ray. Also, just need to make sure that I have this before I forget. We will be getting straight back into racing. Kaposa, Tendo, the Prince of South Africa, Tindo, Nkwali, Esklexa, Man Race by Zozo, Sadly Mazanti, Kid K, Mshengu, and His Royal Highness the King Rapture, who was fighting all the way from the back. Of course, King Rapture representing Alpine. Now due to begin this race in just a matter of seconds. Here we are in Australia, a sunny day this time out. 20 laps of racing we will have. And the drivers will now put the final touches. Hopefully, we can have a decent race. All right, hopefully for an undisturbed showcase, welcome to Australia as the 5 lights go out and Mshengu, what in the world? All right, I just don't understand what the heck is going on here, folks. We may yet have to call this. I just don't understand what in the world is going on. Another glitch. We may yet have to call this. All right, folks, we will then have to give this race another go when we have better luck regarding glitches and issues with the race lobby. We do apologize for that. A lot of, well, of course, unplanned, unforeseen issues, but we will hopefully get this race going properly before the playoffs do begin. We will then have to revisit race number 7 for Tier 2. Hopefully, no such issues in the top tier tomorrow, and we will then be catching you for Tier 1, 7:30 or 8 p.m. Central African time. We do apologize. Glitches aplenty, but we will be back. Thank you, everybody, for your patience.